You know what's crazy? A lot of men think attraction is about chasing, impressing, or constantly performing. But the most attractive and irresistible men in history, the ones who left a mark, didn't move like that. They weren't loud, they weren't desperate, and they definitely weren't begging anyone to choose them. They moved with calm, deliberate power. And that energy? That's what pulls people in without you even trying. If you're here, you're probably tired of feeling like you're the one always giving, always proving, always trying to be good enough for someone who barely notices your effort. Let me be honest with you, that version of you isn't unattractive because you're not good-looking or smart. It's unattractive because it signals neediness, because it tells the world you don't see your own value. And if you don't see it, no one else will. The truth is, women aren't drawn to the loudest man in the room. We're drawn to the man who doesn't need the room, the one who sits in silence and makes people wonder what he's thinking, the man whose presence communicates strength, focus, and peace, the man who doesn't need to prove because he already knows. That's what this video is about. Stoic habits that make a man magnetic without him chasing anyone. Habits that pull women toward you instead of making you perform for attention. And before we dive in, understand this. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. If you're comfortable staying the same, this isn't for you. But if you're ready to tap into a version of yourself that women respect, remember, and want to be chosen by, then stay with me until the end. Also, if you're serious about leveling up and reclaiming your power in relationships, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel is where men come to evolve, not to complain. So if you're ready, subscribe and let's keep going. Just promise me something. Listen with an open mind. Most men hear truth and get defensive. The rare ones hear truth and transform. 1. Silence speaks louder. You have no idea how attractive it is when a man doesn't feel the need to react to everything. Most men talk too much, explain too much, defend too much. They fear being misunderstood, so they rush to clarify their intentions or justify their actions. But the more you explain yourself, the weaker you look. The more you react emotionally, the easier you are to manipulate. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius didn't waste energy on noise. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That mindset alone separates you from the average man. If you don't react emotionally to every trigger, you instantly stand out. Imagine a woman testing you with attitude or silence, expecting you to chase or get upset. Instead of over-explaining or getting defensive, you stay calm. You don't argue. You don't beg for clarity. You don't get pulled into emotional drama. That restraint makes her think. It makes her curious, because most men take the bait, and you didn't. Even modern-day powerful men understand the value of silence. Look at Keanu Reeves. He barely speaks in interviews, yet he's one of the most respected men alive. Why? Because he doesn't overshare. He makes people lean in, not tune out. Here's the question you need to ask yourself. Why do you feel the need to constantly respond, explain, or react? Who told you that silence makes you weak? In reality, silence builds tension. Tension builds attraction. Women don't obsess over men who are always available for emotional sparring. We think about the man we can't quite read. The one whose emotions aren't pinned to our behavior. When you control your reaction, you control the frame. And when you control the frame, you control how you're perceived. Try this. Next time someone tries to provoke you, pause. Don't explain, don't defend, don't rush to respond. Let them sit in their own words. You'll notice something. People start to adjust to your silence. They soften, they rethink, they chase clarity, and while they scramble to understand you, you stay centered. Being unshaken is not about being cold. It's about being in command. And nothing is more attractive than a man whose emotions don't dance to someone else's tune. 2. Emotional discipline. Overreaction. A man who can't control his emotions loses respect before he realizes it. You might think women want vulnerability, openness, emotional expression, and yes, in the right context, they do. But what repels us instantly is emotional instability. If your mood changes based on how someone treats you, you're telling the world you're not in control of yourself. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most emotional reactions from men aren't because of the situation itself, but the story they create around it. She didn't text back? Suddenly you think she's losing interest. Someone disagrees with you? You feel disrespected. You don't get the attention you expected? You get bitter. Do you know how powerful you look when nothing knocks you off center? When you don't chase reassurance? When you don't spiral over uncertainty? That's the kind of energy that commands attention. Let's be real. When a woman sees that her silence, mood, or delay in responding affects you emotionally, she subconsciously categorizes you as someone she can influence. And once she knows she can control your emotions, attraction drops. Not because she's cruel, but because your energy becomes predictable, and predictable men don't create desire. Now imagine the opposite. She pulls back, and you remain calm. She throws attitude, and you don't bite. She tests you, and you don't react. You just observe. Your emotional discipline tells her everything. You're not here to be validated. You're not here to play games. You're not moved by temporary emotion. You're led by principle. Epictetus taught that no one can harm you unless you allow your perception to make it so. Emotional discipline doesn't mean bottling up feelings. It means not letting feelings dictate your behavior. You can acknowledge anger without acting on it. You can feel disappointment without begging for closure. You can notice disrespect without launching into argument. Here's a question that will challenge how you think. If a woman can control your emotions, can you really claim to be in control of your life? Think about that before you react the next time someone triggers you. And don't just practice this in relationships. Carry it into your work, your friendships, your day-to-day life. When you stop responding like a puppet to external triggers, people treat you differently. They sense your stability. Women feel it instantly. We may test you, but we respect the man who cannot be emotionally moved by anything outside his values. Emotional discipline is quiet power. You don't announce it, you live it. And when you do, you'll notice something. You stop chasing respect because people start giving it to you without being asked. 3. Non-neediness as a lifestyle. One of the hardest truths men have to accept is that the moment you start needing a woman's attention, her interest begins to fade. It's not because women don't want to be loved. It's because women don't want to feel like they're the oxygen in your lungs. The more dependent you are on someone choosing you, the more they subconsciously pull away. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you always look there." When your sense of worth comes from within, you become unshakable. But when your value comes from whether she's texting back, whether she's impressed, whether she approves, you give up your power before anything even begins. Think about how many guys destroy their chances by over-pursuing. They double-text, over-explain, constantly compliment, and ask questions that scream insecurity. Do you still like me? Did I do something wrong? Are you losing interest? Every one of those behaviors communicates lack, and lack is never attractive. Let me make something very clear. Women don't fall for men who chase. They fall for men who choose. A man who has options. A man who is busy with purpose. A man whose life doesn't pause because someone isn't giving him attention. Here's what non-neediness actually looks like. You like her, but you don't pedestal her. You're interested, but you're not anxious. You give effort, but not your identity. When you can walk away from anyone without emotional collapse, you instantly become more attractive. Not because of games, but because of self-respect. A man who can leave has leverage. A man who clings has none. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." You can't control who texts back. You can't control who stays. But you can control how you value yourself. And ironically, when you stop needing, you start attracting. Here's the question that should shake you a little. If she never came back, would your world fall apart? If the answer is yes, that's not love, that's dependency. And dependency is the fastest path to losing both her and yourself. Shift your focus. Build your body, your income, your emotional strength, your silence, your boundaries. When you become a man whose life is full, with or without her, she suddenly wants to be part of it. 4. Being selective creates desire. Men think pursuing every woman increases their chances. In reality, it destroys their value. When a man acts like he wants any woman who gives him the slightest attention, he becomes invisible. Women pay attention to the man who isn't impressed by everyone, the one who chooses carefully. Seneca said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." That applies to women too. When your energy is scattered, when you're chasing multiple people hoping one works out, you look desperate, not desired. Let me tell you something most women will never say out loud. We are far more attracted to the man who doesn't give us automatic access. The man who listens but doesn't overshare. The man who observes before opening up. The man who sees beauty but doesn't crumble under it. You become interesting when you evaluate people instead of trying to impress them. You become attractive when you decide who enters your world instead of waiting to be chosen. Even something as simple as not responding instantly, not clearing your schedule immediately, not being overly eager, that shows you have a life. Look at highly respected men throughout history. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome, yet his writings show he kept a very small inner circle. He didn't let everyone close. He protected his peace. You should too. Women, evaluate how you treat your time. If you throw it at anyone who smiles at you, you look empty. If you're intentional about where your energy goes, you look valuable. Here's a question that should hit you hard. Why are you treating your attention like a discount item? When was the last time you actually paused and asked yourself, is she even someone I want long term? Or do you just chase because she's pretty? Men who are selective trigger a powerful psychological response in women. We wonder why you don't instantly want us. And once we wonder, interest starts to grow. Being selective isn't arrogance. It's self-control. It's knowing your worth so deeply that you don't have to advertise it. And when you move like that, you stop chasing attention and start commanding it. 5. Purpose over approval. Every time you abandon your mission to seek someone's validation, you weaken your masculine energy. The most attractive men aren't the ones begging for attention. They're the ones building something with or without an audience. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That means your identity should come from your direction, not from who claps for you along the way. Let's talk relationships. A woman will never fully respect a man who abandons his goals to keep her comfortable. She may enjoy the attention briefly, but the moment she becomes the center of your universe, she starts losing attraction. Not because she wants you to ignore her, but because she wants to feel that she is joining a man already in motion. If your life stops when a woman enters it, she won't stay. If you drop everything when she calls, she sees you as someone without structure. Women test your priorities, not because we're evil, but because we want to know if you can lead yourself before you try to lead anyone else. Men who center their lives around women instead of purpose unknowingly communicate, "You're my mission." That sounds romantic, but to the feminine, it feels like pressure and weakness. Purpose doesn't mean career only. It can be building discipline, mastering your body, improving your finances, developing a craft. It means waking up with something that matters to you, not to someone else. Modern men like David Goggins, Jocko Willink, Ryan Holiday, they don't chase attention. They chase goals. And people, including women, end up following them because of it. It's not the mission itself that's attractive, it's the mindset behind it. So ask yourself this: if every woman disappeared from your life tomorrow, would you still wake up with direction? If the answer is no, then you're not living, you're orbiting. And no one respects a man who orbits. They respect the one who moves forward with or without applause. Here's the paradox you need to understand. The less you seek approval, the more approval you naturally gain. When you move with purpose, people either match your energy or move out of your way. Either outcome benefits you. 6. Self-control in desire. Most men lose power not because of women, but because of their lack of control around women. Desire isn't the problem. Attachment to desire is. When a man can't control his impulses, he becomes predictable. And once you're predictable, you're forgettable. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca wrote, "He who is the slave of his desires is more miserable than any slave." If a woman's beauty, body, or attention can derail your focus, she doesn't even need to reject you. You've already disqualified yourself. Think about how many men destroy their edge the moment they feel attraction. They start simping, overgiving, compromising values, ignoring standards just to keep her around. Women notice every shift in your behavior. You think she's impressed, but she's actually taking mental notes. If I can move him this easily, I can own him. True attraction comes from restraint, not pursuit. When you can see a woman as desirable without instantly centering her in your world, that's when she pays attention. When you like her, but don't lose yourself over her, she starts to question why she can't control you. Curiosity becomes attraction. Self-control applies to more than women. Your diet, your habits, your distractions. If you can't deny yourself short-term pleasure, you'll never gain long-term respect. A man who can't control himself will always be controlled by something or someone else. Here's a question that should make you pause. If every woman you're attracted to suddenly knew your thoughts, would you be embarrassed by how easily your mind bends to desire? The man who leads his impulses instead of being dragged by them is a man women chase, not the other way around. And that chase doesn't come from manipulation. It comes from rarity. 7. Calm confidence over performance. Confidence isn't loud. Confident men don't need to show off, brag, or dominate conversations. They don't need to tell people who they are. They let their presence speak for them. Marcus Aurelius didn't flex his status. He didn't write about being emperor. He wrote about being disciplined, mindful, and in control of himself. That's the kind of strength people remember. Women don't fall for the guy trying to prove his worth. We fall for the man whose worth is so internally rooted that silence, eye contact, posture, and presence do all the talking. You know what makes a man irresistible? When he doesn't chase the spotlight, but the spotlight still finds him. Calm confidence is built from experience, failure, discipline, and self-respect. It's not something you announce, it's something people feel. When you walk into a room and own your energy without forcing it, you become impossible to ignore. Men who perform for attention, constantly joking, interrupting, flexing, bragging, might get laughs, but they don't get long-term respect, especially not from women who truly understand male energy. Performance is insecurity in disguise. Presence is confidence in action. Here's something to sit with. If you stripped away your money, your looks, your car, your social media, how would you carry yourself? Would people still feel drawn to you? If the answer is no, then what you have is performance, not power. The more comfortable you become in silence, stillness, and observation, the more intimidating and attractive you become without saying a word. Modern men compete for attention. Stoic men make attention come to them. If there's one truth you need to leave with today, it's this. Attraction isn't something you chase. It's something you command by the way you live. The men who get chosen don't move with desperation or noise. They move with discipline, purpose, restraint, and calm power. Stop trying to earn a woman's interest and start becoming the kind of man whose presence makes her adjust her behavior without you saying a word. If you're serious about growing into that version of yourself, subscribe now and come back for the next one. The men who listen and apply are the ones who outgrow the rest.